Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Fairfield. Welcome to the bi-weekly podcast. I'm Mark Turner. That's Claire Vaughn. Dave Rigg, our guest this morning. How are you, Dave?
I'm fine. After last night's storms, I made it through.
Oh, you didn't blow away.
I did not. I had a few limbs blown down in the lane where I live, but it wasn't bad.
There was some damage around the area. I saw
West Salem had the side of a building blown out.
Wow.
An old building that was unoccupied.
Now, I did see some photos, and I'm not sure where they were, but they were like baseball-sized hail. I mean, it was...
Baseball size?
I mean, it was huge.
Wow.
Oh,
And it may have been out in Missouri and Kansas, right along that area where the storms first hit, but I did see some photos of some really big hail.
Well, my grandson, he works for a Legacy Tree Service there in Albion, and he's already out, so he's probably out cleaning up storm damage all over the county.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was bad. I saw one of my friends, Andy, he was out in the middle of the night clearing, trees that had fallen from the roads and stuff like that, and his neighbors' drives and all that. We lost a trampoline again, RIP. I swear, anytime there's a storm, we lose a trampoline. And
Right.
I think we'd learn to
Right.
just stop.
Right.
Stop buying them.
Right.
But yeah, it was on its top when I went out this morning. So,
Okay.
But hey, if that's the worst that happened, we're pretty thankful.
Yeah.
We're-
We, here in town, I mean, the sirens went off,
Yeah.
and which was kind of confusing because it was right after the
Oh yeah.
the volleyball players
the girls
went by.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
But then the sirens go off, and I'm waiting for the wind to pick up, waiting for
yeah.
all heck to break loose, and
Nothing really happened.
nothing really happened.
I was afraid the electricity would go off, but it
I
only
kept
flickered
look-
off for a few times.
Yeah.
I kept pulling up, pulled out the flashlights. I'm thinking, okay, it's we're going to lose electricity.
Right.
Never did.
Yeah, we never did out on the East Highway either.
Was-
We had the candles out and the flashlights ready, and we were hanging in the basement, and yeah, it never got too crazy out there.
We were sitting there watching Swamp People and then Swamp People Serpent Invasion after that.
That's funny. Me and Ashley were at La Fuente. We had that presentation I was telling you about. Wayne County has a new website, and we did a presentation for it last night, and it should be launched soon. But it's been it was a stressful day, and I was like, let's go get Mexican and just relax. And then we get there, it was like, everyone's phones going off, and we're like, oh. Of course, our babies are at home with their dads who like to stand out on the porch and watch tornadoes or storms. So we're like, okay, let's wrap this up as fast as we can so we can get home. But yeah, it was crazy, and hopefully everyone is safe and didn't get hit too hard.
There were some over in Indiana, different places. There were quite a few folks that were injured, but I didn't hear of any deaths or anything.
Someone posted, I saw this morning, a picture of their trailer. It looked like a tornado ran right through the middle of it.
Wow.
And I think they were local people because the names that they had tagged in it were local people. And
What is it with tornadoes and trailers?
I know, they just love them.
It doesn't. I mean, it
Did
doesn't
you ever
matter.
did you ever live in a trailer for a while?
Oh,
Yes.
I did too.
Oh yeah.
Glad I don't anymore.
I know.
Well, when those storms come through too in a trailer, it's a lot louder,
Sure.
a lot scarier. I'm so thankful we have a basement that we can go to.
Yeah,
and
me too.
There's a closet that's kind of built in the interior that
Right.
we could get in. But
My basement is to the point where I think I'd be better off riding the storm out.
I think a lot of people's basements
see,
around
I'm-
here are like that.
I'm using song metaphors
There you
now,
go.
riding the storm out.
There you go. Well, I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, Dave Rigg. I'm sure everyone knows you, but if they don't, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself, and we have all sorts of different avenues we can go into talking about.
There's all kinds of things I'm involved in.
I know.
Well,
How long can we go?
Yeah, how long? It may take 5 or 6 programs for me to cover all of that.
Hey,
but,
we'll gladly have you back.
well, I'll be
anytime.
glad to. I used to, like I was telling you earlier, when Mike Dreeth ran the radio station out there, I'd come over every month.
Oh, yeah, once
and be
a
on
month.
the morning coffee.
And it was always one of the best shows.
Oh, the viewer numbers when I was going to be on were way up on YouTube there. Well, actually, I was born in Olney, but grew up in Bone Gap. Went to school there and graduated from Edwards County High School. and got into radio broadcasting right out of high school, which is an interesting story how that got started.
Yeah.
I enrolled after graduating from high school in the Wabash Valley College radio and TV program. And early in, the guy who did the play-by-play for the Aces football and basketball games on the Mount Carmel radio station came out to the studio and he said, I need somebody to help me with the games this year. Anybody in this class interested in doing sports? Well, that was right up my alley. I said, yeah, I want to. And I said, I'd like to do the first game because first game for Mount Carmel was with Edwards County. So,
perfect.
So I did the game. I worked with him. I gave the starting lineups and made a few comments during the game. So the following Monday morning, I'm sitting in my car waiting for the classrooms to open up for my first class that morning. And the radio.
Because you're always early.
Yeah, right.
You're always early, right?
And the radio professor pulls up and he says, radio station manager wants to talk to you. And oh man, I'm thinking, what in the...
Right.
I must have said something I shouldn't have said. So I'm worried all through that class, dreading going up there. But finally the class is over and I drive up there. And the radio manager says, we were really impressed with your job last Friday night. Would you be interested in working every game with Tommy Strop? And I said, well, sure. I'd love to do that. So I started doing the game with him. And about the third or fourth game of the season, he asked if I wanted to do play-by-play. And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to do that. So did play-by-play that night, about a quarter or so. The next Monday, again, I'm sitting there waiting to begin the class, the first class of the morning. And again, the radio professor pulls up. He says, station manager wants to talk to you. And again, I'm thinking, I must have said something I shouldn't have said. So after the class, I drive up there.
Conscience.
Yeah. I'm going over in my mind the things I said, and I thought, surely that didn't offend anybody, because people really get offended.
I was going to say, you never know.
No. So anyway, I go up to the radio station after the class is over, and the station manager says, Tommy Strop had a heart attack last night.
Oh, my gosh.
She said, you're now the voice of the Aces.
Oh, man.
And I became the voice of the Aces then until I took a job here in Fairfield in 1971.
I mean, talk about an opportunity just falling into your, into your footsteps. And, that's so amazing that it happened. But also, I don't want to discredit the work that you did to earn that position either. You know what I mean? It kind of fell into you, but they wouldn't have asked you to do it if you hadn't been doing a good job. So it's such a cool story. I love that. And things happen for a reason, and look where it's led you into a lifelong,
I just finished
career.
my 56th year of doing sports play-by-play, either on radio or the internet. 56 years.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations on a wonderful career. 56 years, wow. So were you an athlete in school?
Yeah, I played basketball, football, baseball, yeah.
Just always had a love for sports?
Well, before... Bone Gap used to have a Pony League and Little League baseball team. Mm-hmm. And after I got too old to play Pony League anymore, they asked me to do the PA work at the games there in Bone Gap. And people started calling me Harry Carey. Because Harry
Not
Carey,
a bad thing to be called.
We're talking about the late 1950s. Mm-hmm. And
he was the man back then.
Oh, Harry Carey was the voice of the Cardinals back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
and people,
okay.
that's...
I always thought Harry Carey, wasn't he the Cubs?
Yeah.
Isn't that what I remember?
But he started with the Cardinals
and
Jack
that.
Buck. Yeah.
Wow.
He lost his job because...
Did he say something inappropriate on the air?
No, he started running around.
He did something inappropriate with the owner's wife, I think.
Owner's daughter, I think.
Owner's daughter, okay.
Owner's daughter, yeah.
Hey.
In the summertime, they used to show pictures of him out there in the Cardinal booth, and he'd have his pants off, standing there in his jockey shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was something else, Harry Carey was.
I believe that. Just from me seeing him as the Cubs announcer, he always had such a great character, great personality, and a lot of fun to listen to. So, I'm going to ask both of you guys this. When you do play-by-play, are you inspired by any other play-by-play announcers? Do you get your style from anyone else, or is that just...
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I had my own style.
Yeah. And I think you guys both just have that voice. You have such a good... You guys both have such good voices.
We have a voice, but not a face.
Yeah, but you don't have
right.
the face for TV.
Yeah.
No.
That's why we're in radio.
You're right.
Video killed the radio
I know. Oh, no,
star.
here we
Yeah,
go.
here we go.
Yeah.
Let's sing.
But also I spent 31 years as a church pastor, and there's a story on how that got started
Okay,
too.
tell us.
Well, my Uncle Melvin was in the hospital in Evansville, and I had started going to church regularly after being raised in church as a boy. It really wasn't living the Christian life and so on. But anyway, I got born again, saved, in March 16th of 1988, and was going to church there in Albion at the House of Prayer. My Uncle Melvin dies, and I'm over at the Deaconess Hospital with my dad and a couple of my aunts, and they're talking about what they're going to do for the funeral, because Uncle Melvin never went to church.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, my dad says, well, David could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, would you? And I said, well, I guess I could do it. So I preached his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks later, the guy who was a deacon at the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church at Mount Erie, who sold Mormon feeds, was talking to one of his customers up north of Bone Gap, and he said, we need somebody to fill in for a couple of Sundays until our new pastor can take over the church. Do you know anybody who come preach on a couple of Sundays? And he said, yeah, go talk to Dave Rigg, because I went to his funeral that he preached.
Right.
And he could do it. So he comes and talks to me, and I said, yeah, okay. So I go up there and I preach one Sunday and have to go back the next Sunday. The second Sunday I'm up there, the deacon comes up and he said, the guy who was going to take the church now says he can't. So will you continue to fill in until we find somebody?
Oh, my goodness.
I said, well, okay. So this was going on and on. And my brother-in-law, who lives just down the road from me, also raised hogs at that time. And this deacon went to talk to him about selling hog feed to him. And the conversation got to the point where my brother-in-law said, well, my brother-in-law's preaching up at your church. And he said, yeah. He said, I guess he's just filling in until you find somebody who's going to be the new pastor. And this deacon says, well, we think we've already found him.
Oh, how
So
cool.
my brother-in-law, he can't wait to tell me this. And so the next Sunday morning, I'm all loaded with the ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really going to call him on the carpet. So I walk up to this deacon and I said, how's the search for a new pastor coming? Because this is now a couple of months into it.
Right.
And he kind of grins because he must have realized the cat was out of the bag. And he
Yeah.
said, well, we think we found him. And I said, no, wait a minute. I've got to pray about this and decide this. So eventually I prayed about it and I decided that the Lord wanted me to do that. So on Super Bowl Sunday the following year, I was ordained as the church pastor there. Spent a little over 10 years there, and then I started a new church in Bone Gap at the former Methodist church when that church was closed, and I was there for about another 20 years, I guess, before I moved on. Now I'm just preaching on Sunday morning on YouTube. So
I was going to say, let's go ahead and talk about that.
yeah.
We, so you can talk about it.
Well,
What's your show called?
Well, it's just called Gospel Preaching. It's one of my Facebook pages also, but I also upload the sermon after I've done it on Facebook to YouTube. So I've got a YouTube channel for Gospel Preaching and a Facebook page for Gospel Preaching as well. So
Yeah, check those out. And we have a website as well. We're working on updating that. Thank you for the opportunity to help you with that. But check that out in the next couple weeks. Hopefully it'll be live, right? And it is Gospel Time.
Gospel Time. That started right here in Fairfield. About 1989. Tom Land, who was the station manager then,
Right.
came in one day and he said, there's a carpet store over at Mount Carmel. They want to run a 15-minute program because I used to do the afternoon disc jockey program playing country music there in the afternoon. It was Dave Rigg Country. And from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock, we started out at 1 o'clock with Lum and Abner. And then after 15 minutes of Lum and Abner, I'd come on and play country music for the rest of the afternoon. But anyway, this carpet business wanted to have a 15-minute program of Southern gospel music. Well, you can't do much in 15 minutes, but anyway, I would do it because they'd play about 3 commercials in there in addition.
Right.
So I could play 2. So anyway, after about a month of that, the carpet company decided not to sponsor it anymore, but there'd been so much good response to it that Tom said, why don't you go ahead and do that, but instead of doing 15 minutes, do 45 minutes.
Wow.
And so Gospel Time started out. And then the program that it started on Sunday morning at 6:30 was called Good News Music, and that was started by Tex Moats here in Fairfield, who used to do concerts, Southern Gospel concerts here in the area. And he wanted me to do that program at 6:30 on Sunday mornings. So then, and I don't know whether you're acquainted with Singing News Magazine. It's kind of like the magazine for Southern Gospel music.
Yeah.
And they have a quartet convention every year. It used to be in Nashville, but I think it's in Louisville now. They would have every year a Southern Gospel Music Awards program there in Nashville. And they would honor every year a large market DJ, a small market DJ, and a medium-sized DJ. And I don't know how, because nominees for the award could only be submitted by people who subscribe to Singing News Magazine. And I didn't figure we had that many subscribers here in Wayne County. But anyhow, somehow, some way, there were enough nominations sent in that I had to go to Nashville that year to be part of the small market DJ of the year. Now, I didn't win the award, but that
What
exposure,
an honor. Yeah.
all of a sudden I start getting other radio stations wanting to know if they could carry my program. And over the years, you know, many, many stations have come along. Right now I'm doing gospel time on about 15 different radio stations, most of them here in the Midwest, but I've got one down in Jacksonville, Texas, another one over in London, Kentucky on the eastern side of the state. So
that's awesome. It's really, really great that
I just regretted that the powers that be out there at the radio station now took me off the air here a couple of years ago.
Like we discussed off the air, you know, the idea of RJ on the air is to have more than one podcast, and you know, we would love to get yours on if that's something you're okay with.
Sure.
And that way, people of Fairfield can still tune into YouTube and listen to it. You know, and that can be a scheduled podcast every week as well. So, yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yep.
All right, next question.
Okay.
Speaking of podcast number 1 for RJ on the Air is It's a Beautiful Day in Fairfield. And you have some stories about Gil Wallace, the original It's a Beautiful Day in Fairfield guy. So I just wanted to see if you'd share that kind of story with us.
Like I said, I started here in Fairfield after working about 3 years in Mount Carmel. Tom Land had an opening here in Fairfield when Bill Arthur, who still lives here, but at that time he had moved to Arkansas.
Right.
And so there was an opening here in Fairfield to do some disc jockey work in the afternoon, as well as joining Garnet Williams for doing Mules football and Mules basketball. So Tom Land calls me up in Mount Carmel, wants to know if I'd be interested in working over here. And so I came over and talked to Tom, and I started working here in Fairfield in August of '71 and started doing Mules football with Garnet Williams. And later on then, when Garnet retired, with Stan David for a while. But anyway, Gil Wallace, I don't remember what the physical problem he had, but he was hospitalized after he he had done the morning sign-on show for years. And just as, you know, It's a Beautiful Day in Fairfield, after he would read the 6:15 news, and at 6:30, after he finished the news and played a commercial or two, he'd start up a band song, an old marching band, you know. He had a big 33 1/3 RPM record with marches on both sides.
Oh,
and he would alternate playing those different marches.
Yeah.
And after he would get the band march music established, he'd turn on the microphone and he would say, "It's a beautiful day in Fairfield. Old Gil Wallace with you in the Coffee Club." Now, it was called the Coffee Club in the beginning, but later on when coffee prices shot up, he changed the name to the Breakfast Nook. But anyway, so he's
Bring your own breakfast.
Yeah.
BYOC.
Yeah.
He has this physical problem come up, and he's hospitalized in Evansville, and it was quite obvious he wasn't going to, you know, be coming back to Fairfield for a while.
Aww.
So Tom Land says, "I want you to do the morning sign-on show." Well, I wasn't too happy about getting up way early in the morning to be over here, because you'd have to be here by at least 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I lived north of Albion, about 6 miles, so I'd have to really get up early
About
to get over
30-minute drive,
Yeah.
probably.
So anyway, I start doing it, and I do it the same way Gil did. I'd start out after reading the 6:15 news with the band And I'd come on and say, "It's a beautiful day in Fairfield, old Dave Rigg with you in the coffee club." And that went on for about 2 months until Gil was able to come
Aww.
back.
Yeah.
But
That's really neat.
and a lot of people don't know this, but Gil Wallace got his radio start in Mount Carmel, just like I did.
Really?
The
Yeah.
Bash, bringing us all the local radio announcers.
He was the sign-on man there in Mount Carmel. He and his wife, Juanita Wallace, were very well-known people in Mount Carmel for years because of his radio work there at the WVMC, which was an AM radio station.
Uh-huh.
And his wife, of course, being a nurse at the Mount Carmel Hospital.
Wow.
And so he was really popular over there. And then I don't know what happened, but eventually he takes a job over here in Fairfield with Brian Davidson and Tom Land.
Found his way over.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's very cool. Yeah, we're very thankful to get to, use his little sign on, and it's a beautiful day in Fairfield. I think it's a great little phrase.
I'm just wondering how many people are still old enough to remember Gil Wallace.
Well, so when I started talking to my mother-in-law about doing a podcast, and I said I want it to be kind of a morning show, and
Right.
I'm typically a very positive person. I don't want it to be, news and like drag you down type stuff. I
Right.
want it to be happy.
That's
Sure.
my job.
Yeah. Mark's the Eeyore. I'm the, everything's bright and shiny. So she was the one that suggested it. She said, I remember, in my younger days as a kid or whatever, everyone always had their radio station on. Their moms and dads, their grandparents, no matter where you were, you had the radio on. And she said, I remember Gil and that radio broadcast and every single morning saying, it's a beautiful day in Fairfield, and I was like, oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
perfect, so.
WFIW was really a popular radio station, not just here in Wayne County, but in Edwards County, White County,
Yeah.
Richland County. I remember, like I said, I had worked in radio for 3 years in Mount Carmel. And when I first started working on the radio over here, I'd have people in Edwards County come up to me and say, I didn't know you were in radio. I'd say,
Yeah.
I've been
No
on
way.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you another name from the past, Darrell Linney.
I don't know that one.
He was the
News director, for
right?
very
Okay.
colorful man.
Really?
Very colorful man.
Darryl-
Wasn't he the one who reported on his arrest?
No, on his divorce.
On his divorce.
See, back
okay.
then, in the news, they would cover all the details of a person's divorce. Oh, yeah. And, of course, when his wife and he decided they were going to get a divorce, he knew he would really get raked over the coals if he didn't do the same thing for his divorce
Right.
as he had done for other people. And so, sure enough, he goes into all the details about why they're getting a divorce and all that stuff. And
I know when I started, it was in the morning. You went to the hospital.
Yeah.
You went to the
Yep.
police department. You went to the sheriff's department.
Right.
As soon as the courthouse opened, you were there.
Right.
Physically.
right.
And
Go get your information to report
Right.
on.
Call the
Yeah.
state police at that time it was Albion.
Yeah.
Right.
But and Darrell Linney was something else to work with.
Oh, my
I'll never forget the day he's reading the 12:15 news, and at that particular day we had an outbreak of termites at the radio station, and he's in there trying to read the news and trying to swat termites out of his face as he's reading the news.
Oh, that is
Many
funny.
memories I have of work, because I worked out there for 24 years, I believe it was, before I took a job in Christian radio in Evansville. So
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we've talked about Edwards County a little bit. Actually, first I want to tell you, I got a comment in the live chat from Crystal Vaughn. She said all the cool kids are from Bone Gap. I have to agree, Crystal. But I just wanted you to talk maybe about, you're kind of the voice of the Lions over there. And we got the
Right.
red jacket. You've got
Right.
a name for, I don't know if it was self-proclaimed or the fans gave you the name, but if you just want to kind of talk about that aspect of your life and the many hats that you
Well,
wear.
Dave Land started wanting me to do Edwards County sports on the radio on WOKZ.
Oh, okay.
Until they had WOKZ, there was just mules on
Right.
WFIW. But once they got WOKZ, that opened up the opportunity for them to sell advertising and do Edwards
Yeah.
County games. So he started asking me to do Edwards County football and basketball games on the radio station WOKZ. And so, I enjoyed doing that. And but my favorite sport to do is girls volleyball.
Oh, isn't it fun?
And I got my start doing that here in Fairfield.
Did you? With the mules?
No. Well, yes, in a way,
Yeah.
indirectly. Edwards County had a great team this particular year, and I'm trying to remember what year it was. But anyhow, the Lions were playing the Mules here in Fairfield in the regional championship game, and Dave wanted to carry the game on WFIW. So he calls me up and he said, would you come over and do the play-by-play? Well, I had never done a girls' volleyball game, so I didn't know what the rules were or anything.
Oh, wow.
But my nephew, Shad McKenzie, who is the grade school volleyball coach at Albion Grade School, I asked him to come help me. So
good.
we did the game here in Fairfield, and Edwards County won. The Lions then went on to do the sectional game, and I went up there and did that game on the radio. And then the Lions went to the super sectional, and they won that. And so the Lions then went to the state finals, and I did the state finals from Normal up there at Northern Illinois.
And this is the first
3 years in a row I did Edwards County Lions volleyball in the state finals at Normal.
What a great place to do a volleyball broadcast from.
I got to tell you, we're sitting down there doing the games. Now, we couldn't do video back then because that was all on the NFHS network, but I could do radio. And so we're sitting down there, Troy and I, right there courtside. And before the game, you know how they hit the volleyball back and forth and everything. He's sitting there, and all of a sudden, and I'm not sitting, I'm kind of standing off the side. A volleyball comes down and hits him right on top of the head. But it was, and then while we were doing the Edwards County games, the station out of Wayne City, the Woodlawn Cardinals were playing. Mm-hmm. Edwards County at that time was going for 2A state finals championships, and Woodlawn was going for the 1A championships. Right. And so the station manager for the Wayne City radio station, I can't remember what its call letters are now, but anyway, they called me up there at Normal and said, hey, would you be willing to do the game for us on the Wayne City station for the Woodlawn games? I said, yeah, that would be no problem. I'd be there anyway.
I'm already there, yeah.
So then we did the games for Woodlawn. And from that time forward, the Woodlawn Cardinal head coach, wherever we would run into her, she'd always come up and say, I remember you doing our final games up there. We really appreciate you.
That's great.
But that was a great experience for 3 years in a row to be able up there covering the Lions in the state finals.
So we started last year, was our first year of Mule Nation, 22, 23. And the volleyball, sadly was upset, and we were coming back here for sectionals. Right. So they didn't get to play at the home sectional. It was really disappointing.
Oh, it was a super sectional.
Super sectional.
It was a super, yeah.
And we were so sad about it, but Coach Townsend asked us to go ahead and stream it.
Sure.
And I'm so glad we did. It was Freeburg, right?
It was Freeburg and Breeze Mater Dei.
And it was probably one of our most watched streams to this day, outside of like Pana and Mules, football in the second round. Yeah. But yeah, it was so much fun. Like everyone really enjoyed the commentation, just to get kind of exposure and also like appreciation and acknowledgement from people that don't know you or don't know, you guys at all. They don't know you from Adam.
Right.
And it was just, it was a really neat experience getting to kind of tap into a different market and be appreciated still,
Sure.
But yeah, those games are fun. The postseason games are fun. And my first volleyball, it was actually our first broadcast. We were over in Wayne City, our first volleyball broadcast.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I've watched volleyball before, but I've never listened to a play-by-play of it. And I remember Double D starting, Derek Dunn, and just the excitement that he has. And I was like, my neck turned. I was like, what? I mean, it just brings a whole element of excitement to it. And we hear that a lot from, like, the parents and the kids, that they go back and will watch the broadcast after the game just to hear what is said about them or, and just to probably critique themselves or, that type of stuff, too. But,
Well, the Edwards County girls, they go back after the games are over. They go back that night or the next day to watch themselves on our webcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They like to go back and watch it for sure. So, volleyball's your favorite. So you guys do. It's just you and
my brother
and
Troy.
your brother. And you guys do mostly football, volleyball, and then basketball.
Right.
And you kind of take priority with girls basketball, right?
I started doing girls volleyball, all of the Edwards County games, and I was the only one. I mean, back at that time, you guys weren't doing hardly any girls volleyball. El Dorado wasn't, Mount Carmel wasn't. But eventually, it was not uncommon at all, because Edwards County's had a great volleyball program for years.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was not uncommon for us to go on the road to do an away game, and more Edwards County fans in the stands than the home team had.
Wow, yeah.
But I always felt bad for the girls, because we had this great volleyball team, and they're going to the state finals, and they're not getting the recognition that the boys are, And so we did all these volleyball games, and then we started having some pretty good basketball teams too, girls basketball teams. And I thought, they need some exposure too. So
yeah.
I really feel like, and I'll tell you this, and I'm probably going to get into trouble for this. Back when I was in high school, the girls back then would not even considered playing basketball or volleyball. In fact, we didn't even have Edwards County High School a girls basketball team or a girls volleyball team. Now, they had a girls softball team.
Oh, okay.
But that was about it. But girls back then, when I was in high school, they were either cheerleaders or they were fans in the stands. There was nothing for them to do. But these girls that are playing sports now, they are athletes.
Yes.
Very, very outstanding athletes. And I'm amazed what a lot of these girls are able to do out there on the floor.
Oh yeah, me too. And that's our mission too, is just to bring more attention to the ones that maybe don't get as much. Like you said, the guys' sports always gets the recognition, and we try to do cross country and wrestling.
That was one of the things that when we talked about doing this, I said, I told Claire, I said, we need to do volleyball, girls basketball. We need to do all of this.
Right.
For it to work.
Yeah, we were not, it wasn't an option not to,
Yeah.
As a female-owned business, and, I definitely want to bring some attention to them. And luckily, they do have a great following, and they do have a lot of support now.
You know why they have a good program here at Fairfield?
Coach Chet Snyder.
Chet Snyder. Now, I want to say this, and this is probably going to make some Fairfield Mules fans mad. Chet Snyder, to me, is the very best volleyball coach in the state of Illinois right now.
Yeah.
Now, back when I was doing the game starting, Linda Oxby was the coach. Of course, she's deceased now.
Right.
Some people would say, well, Chet's as good as Linda was. I would say you can't put Chet in the same class as Linda Oxby until he takes a team to the state finals and gets there. And like she did 3 years in a row.
Yeah, that's amazing that she was able to accomplish that.
She was an outstanding coach. But he is great.
Oh, yeah.
And he's taken the Jasper grade school team to high marks this year.
They are still undefeated.
Yep, they're in what regionals right now?
Nope. They won regionals last night. They're headed to state on the 23rd at Heron.
Yes, and the Center Street girls won their regional last night as well, and they're heading to state.
So,
see, a lot of people don't understand. These girls don't just go out there and bat the volleyball back and forth.
No,
there's a lot of strategy, and you have to teach these girls the proper techniques for how to dig the volleyball when it comes over the net, how to set up somebody for a kill, how to look for an open spot on the court and just instead of just knock it over the net, look for a place to shoot it, Well, and Chet does a great job. I think he's the best there is now.
Oh, yeah, I think he's great. And so he's at Jasper, and then Yvette's at Center Street. So then they go to high school, and they have Chet and Yvette, from those two schools that they're already familiar with their coaching style. I mean, I think, getting that coaching style ingrained in them and the techniques ingrained in them at a younger age.
Right.
Then they get into high school and they're more comfortable and
well, my
used
nephew,
to it.
Chad McKenzie, I think, should get some of the credit for Edwards County's success at the high school because he does a great job. And I can't think of who is the coach now at West Salem, but the two coaches at the grade school level in Edwards County, at West Salem and at Albion, really give these girls the good fundamentals.
Oh, yeah.
So that they're ready when they – last year, not this past year, but the year before, our girls' volleyball team was dominated by freshman girls. they got their start at the grade school level.
Oh, Chris Murphy just let us know Jasper lost the regional last night. They did not win.
Lost.
I apologize
Okay.
for that mistake.
Did they lose to a private school?
They lost to Sisney.
Sisney won in 3 sets.
Sisney is always a good program.
And I also want to give a shout out to Kira Vinson. She also is a huge asset to our youth community in volleyball here in Fairfield with her volleyball. What's
Integrity.
Integrity, yes, Integrity. Shout out to Kira as well. We're blessed, really, in Edwards County, Wayne County. It takes
There's some really
people
good
that
volleyball in this part of the state.
I don't even mean that. I mean, like, just having adults that are dedicated enough to,
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of time that goes into it. And they don't just do it, obviously, for the money. You know what I mean? They do
Right.
it because they're passionate about the kids and the sport. And shout out to all of the coaches for all their hard work and the time and dedication they put into our programs.
We've got a
appreciate
vacancy
you.
in Edwards County right now.
You do?
Yeah, the head coach and assistant coach for volleyball at Edwards County have resigned.
Oh.
And so they're both the head coach and assistant coach for Edwards County volleyball is open right now, and they need to get that filled because a lot of people don't realize that. But these girls, they play during the summertime in I don't know what you call them. They're not really league games, but
Just summer league.
summer league games.
You know,
that's
summer
it.
tournaments.
Yeah.
I know the Mules volleyball team. They travel the summer tournament circuit. I mean, well, last year we were in Branson and ran into the Mules volleyball team.
Right.
Yeah, that's neat. They work hard. All of them do.
So I hope they get some
no
good
days off.
applicants there in Albion because volleyball is big in Edwards County.
Oh yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of really, really good volleyball in this part of the state. Mount Carmel's got a great program. Carmi,
They really do.
They went to state this past year.
Carmi's good.
I mean,
Newton usually has a really good volleyball program up there.
yeah.
And,
All right. Well, speaking of programs, do you want to do the weather? We say it's a beautiful day in Fairfield. It's a little froggy out
kind
there
of misty,
today.
misty out there.
Yeah, 46 right now. We're only looking for a high of 61 today. Tomorrow the sun comes back out with a high of 66. Sunday, bottom kind of drops out. 53 for the high, 42 on Monday, and then back up to 59 on Tuesday, and then back into the mid-60s for the remainder of the week.
So we'll get another sick spell coming through.
Yeah.
Just cold enough and then gets warm enough to just get us all sick again.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been fun. Recap of local sports for the week. We had FCHS baseball versus Newton on 3/11, which was Monday. It was the home opener. Mules baseball lost 12-1 to Newton in 6 innings, and Carson Bartholomew got the win for the Eagles. FCHS softball versus North Clay.
They won big.
Won big. They did win big.
19-2, I think.
19-2. Congratulations on that big win as a home opener. Then on Tuesday, 3/12, we had Bobcats softball versus Alney Central and FCHS softball at Grayville. Lady Mules put together a 9-run 6th inning to win 15-6 over Grayville.
That was quite a game.
I'd say.
I mean, it was back and forth and back and forth.
Wow. And then they just
all of a sudden,
opened up.
They bat 13 kids.
Wow.
In that 6th inning. And
did
that
they
was all
change
she
the
wrote.
pitcher multiple times in that inning, or did they just let it play out?
Most high school softball teams, you're only looking at maybe 2 kids that will pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So Grayville changed out their pitcher, and they really didn't have much else they could do.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations to Reagan Wells. She was the winning pitcher and was named the Christina Copeland Country Financial Player of the Game, a.k.a. Copeland Agency Country Financial.
Reagan came in the 3rd to replace Allie Rice, who had won the Player of the Game the night before.
Yes,
She came in the 3rd and just shut down Grayville.
Way to go, Reagan. And that brings me to a point. I'm going to interrupt our recap of local sports. Monday night, we had the Wayne County Chamber dinner. And congratulations to Alyssa Short and her mom, April. They won New Business of the Year for
Bless
Blooms,
Yep.
Flower Farm and Market. And all the CEO kids showed up to surprise Miss Shore, and Reagan was one of them. She showed up in her softball uniform, She ran there as fast as she could after the game. So congrats to them. Congrats to the Chop Shop on winning Business of the Year. What a huge accomplishment. And they do so much for our community, and they're just a great, solid business in our community. And then congratulations, Community Service Person of the Year was Diana Toombs. Congratulations to everyone. If you guys are chamber members, be sure and attend that next year. It's a lot of fun. And it's always fun to recognize, those people and
Is
those
Nixie
businesses.
Nikowski still the head volleyball coach at Frontier?
She is.
And the athletic director.
Yeah,
she's my niece.
Is she?
Yes.
Well, so I was going to say, so we, stream Bobcats baseball and Bobcats volleyball on Bobcat Nation. And Nixie actually dedicated a stream this past volleyball season to Linda Oxby.
Yeah, that was her former coach.
Yeah, she dedicated it to her and had a sweet little memoir that she typed up. And
right.
She's obviously, inspired and influenced a lot of people.
She was
in
head
her
coach
life.
at Edwards County for a few years,
A long
too.
time.
Sure was.
She had to make some sort of an impact to have a gymnasium named after her. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Oh, you mean Nixie?
Linda Oxby.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, let's see. 3:14, which was yesterday. Bobcats softball. We weren't sure if that game was going to happen or not.
Well, there was. It just kept looking like rain all
Rain,
day.
and it was kind of sprinkly, and yeah. But Bobcats softball versus Southeastern Illinois College. They split that one with Southeastern. Bobcats won the first 1-0 and lost 12-6 in the second. Exciting, though. Pitcher Carly Bean became Frontier Softball's career strikeout leader, breaking Morgan Carr's record. She now has 128 strikeouts as a Bobcats pitcher. So congratulations to Carly Bean. She's a good little ball player. I think she hit a home run in both games.
Mm-hmm.
I think is
believe
what I
she
heard.
did, yeah.
So congratulations
Along
to...
with Cat Hibbett.
Oh, yeah. Rip
She
it,
hit one.
Rip it, Hibbit.
Yep.
All right. Upcoming broadcast coming up tonight, 3:15 at 6 p.m. We will be airing the Wayne County Scholastic Bowl at 6 p.m. on Bobcat Nation. Tomorrow we have a double broadcast, Bobcats baseball versus Olive Harvey starting at noon on Bobcat Nation, and FCHS baseball versus Mount Carmel at 11 a.m. on Mule Nation. 3:17, we will be back on Bobcat Nation as baseball takes on Olive Harvey. 3:18, which is Monday, FCHS baseball versus South Central on Mule Nation. Tuesday, Bobcats baseball versus Vincennes on Bobcat Nation. 3:20, we got a double broadcast, FCHS baseball and softball versus Waltonville. So baseball will be on Mule Nation, softball will be on Bobcat Nation. And then 3:21, we got a tennis match versus Mount Carmel, and that will be on Mule Nation. So tune in. Our schedules are posted on our Facebook pages, Bobcat Nation and Mule Nation. But the thing with spring sports,
It is spring, so we will see some cancellations.
Oh, yeah.
changes. They like to keep us on our toes. So we'll post updates on our Facebook as well, letting you know if things change. So I'm going to go into some local events, and then we'll get back to letting you guys chat for a little bit. I want to start with Fairfield Summer Baseball signups. They have been announced. I know everyone has been waiting for these sign-up dates. So March 23rd, 12 to 3, March 30th, 9 till noon, April 6th, 9 till noon, and April 7th, 12 to 3. You can sign up for the Fairfield Summer Baseball program at Leo French Park Maintenance Building. This is for 4 years of age to 15 years. 4-year-olds must be 4 by January 1st of 2024. Cost is $50 per player, $35 for each additional child per household. Go ahead and get signed up. It's always a fun season. Both my boys get to play this year.
So they're playing T-ball?
I think Felix will be up a level.
Okay.
I need to check out the contract again, or the contract, but I think he'll be up a level. Maddox will be Maddox will be in T-ball.
I love watching the little ones play T-ball. It's so much fun.
Cutest. It's the cutest. They have no idea what they're doing.
Right. Sometimes they run to third base instead of first base.
Or they just stand there like, let me hit it again.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the videos. Have you seen the videos on Facebook of the little kids playing T-ball?
Yes.
You know, they'll come up and, you know, of course they've been watching Major League Baseball, and they'll have the little dance, you know.
Oh, yeah. You learned that swag earlier now with all of social media and videos and stuff. You got to get the routine down. Hit my bat twice and twirl around and kick a foot. And, so I'm excited for that.
That's a little Texas line dance, isn't it?
I think so. I'm getting ready. All right, up next, tomorrow the 16th is Quincy Riley's poker run, benefit run. Mm-hmm. It starts at the VFW at 11 a.m. There will be all sorts of fun 50-50 drawings, things like that. So go out and help the family raise some funds for Quincy's medical expenses. I'm going to show this one real fast, but Desires of Your Heart Wellness, their herb seminar and Make and Take event has sold out. So congratulations to Lois on a sold out event. It'll be happening at RJ on the Air, or RJ on Main tomorrow. Also, How the Moon is tomorrow. If you haven't got your tickets yet, you are probably out of luck. Yeah. But check with the Wayne County Farm Bureau, see if they do have any. Typically, it sells out.
I am really disappointed that I'm not going to be able to go this year.
I know. We're going to skip to this one. We have Solar Eclipse kickoff concert with Little Texas. That is going to be on April 5th.
Got my tickets yesterday.
Good. It opens, gates open out at the fairgrounds at 6 p.m. that day. And then Bo Tatum and the Dirt Devils will come out about 6:30, and Little Texas starts about 8. So,
that's past my.
Has anybody said what the eclipse is going to be like if we have a real cloudy day like today? I mean, I assume it'll still get dark, but will you still be able to see it?
Probably not be able to see it. We're really just, like
we're hoping and praying that.
Like any outdoor event, you can't help the weather.
No.
So we're just hoping and praying it's not rainy and we have a good turnout. So, but it's going to be a really fun weekend. Check out Solar Eclipse Fairfield 2024 on Facebook, and you can find out. We're going to post a schedule of events on there, but you can get your tickets for Little Texas through that website. You can also see everything else that's going on. There are links to if you need to rent a camp spot at the fairgrounds. There are links on there, links to Airbnbs. So if you have people coming into town that need places to stay, that's kind of the hub where we're putting all the information. So Solar Eclipse Fairfield 2024.com. I'm gonna do some birthdays really fast. Forgot about those. Happy birthday, Chris Parent. Her birthday was on March 12th. Happy birthday on Wednesday to Bobby Warren, Jake Talbert, Doug Dickey, Tiffany Sons Potts, and Patty Boyd Bowles. Happy birthday, guys. Yesterday, 3/14, happy birthday to Big Lou Hutchison, Zoe Griffith, and Carol Vaughn. Today, happy birthday, Caitlin Glisson, Josh Rocket. And I have Lou Hutchison again, so I'm not sure if your birthday is 3/14 or 3/15.
Maybe he just celebrates both days.
Maybe he was born at 11:59. Yeah, 12 o'clock, 12:01. He's not sure. Tomorrow, happy birthday to Carletta Webb and Diana Richards. And then on Sunday, happy birthday, Brian Taylor. All right. I'm ready for your trivia. You ready?
Oh, yes.
You ready?
Andy Griffith Show.
Andy Griffith,
programs.
Thank you for bringing the trivia today.
I used to do that when Mike Dreeth had me come
one of my favorite shows.
Oh, yeah, and they still show it.
I watch it twice a day. I watch the colorized versions in the morning, and then in the evening.
What channel are those on?
TV Land.
TV Land.
Okay. TV Land.
All right, first question. Who was Gomer Pyle's cousin on the show?
Goober.
That's right.
All right.
What was the one Aunt Bee delicacy that Andy, Opie, and Barney could not stand to eat?
The pickles.
Homemade pickles. All right. Barney had a steady girl. Who was her, or what was her name?
Thelma Lou.
Thelma Lou, that's right.
I'm so glad that you know.
You didn't know that?
I don't know any of these.
You know, okay. Who was the star who played the manicurist who came to Mayberry and set up a shop in Floyd's barbershop? Who played that?
Barbara Eden.
Barbara Eden, yeah. What was her name on the program?
I don't know. Didn't care.
Okay.
Didn't care what her name was. I just
Well, she
wanted to
came
look
out
at
of the
her.
bottle, as a genie. I Dream of Jeannie. That was the name
There
of the
you
program.
go.
Okay. Whose place did Aunt Bee take when she moved into the Taylor house? What was her name? The first housekeeper.
Rose.
Rose. That's,
Wow,
boy,
good
he
job.
watches these.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was Andy's first girlfriend on the show?
First girlfriend. Huh. It wasn't Helen Crump, though.
No.
No, it was...
By the way, did you know that Andy Griffith and Anita Corso, who played that, had an affair?
They did.
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah.
It was the nurse, wasn't it?
No, she was down the road.
Okay.
In fact, there were two different nurses that came to
Okay.
Mayberry, who were his girlfriends.
I don't know. Was it one of the Fun Girls?
Nope. No. That's a classic program, those Fun Girls. Ellie Walker.
Oh, no.
Ellie Walker was the first one. She came to town as the druggist.
Really?
And she was on the program Father Knows Best.
Really? I didn't know
show?
that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
remember the show, but I didn't know that.
On what show did the Andy Griffith program get its start?
Danny Thomas.
Danny Thomas Show. Very good. What did the moonshine-making Morrison girls call their produce? In other words, their...
Elixir.
no,
No, health elixir.
the recipe.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
All right, here's another one. Which future actress from the Waltons...
But what was it?
Huh?
What
It's
would
called
they
The
call it?
Recipe.
The recipe.
The recipe, yeah.
Okay.
And it was the moonshine that they used to
Okay,
make.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What future actress from the Waltons sold Barney a used car lemon? She was on the Waltons.
It was Grandma Walton, but I don't know her name.
Ellen Corby.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. What kind of criminal activity went on in Floyd's barbershop when a new guy came to town to be a barber?
It was betting.
Betting on horses, right?
Yeah.
Bookmaking. Oh, this is what brand of car was Sheriff Taylor's police car all through the series?
That's Ford.
It was always a Ford. What was Andy's favorite dish according to Barney?
Leg of lamb.
Leg of lamb. Just one more. What was the name of Opie's imaginary friend?
Mr. Oh, man. I just saw it the other day.
Yeah.
Mr. McPeavy.
Mr. McBeavy, yeah.
Okay.
He was a lineman for the television, and he
Yeah.
would be up in the trees, and Andy didn't believe it. Yeah. That's all the ones I got
Oh,
there.
good. I'm glad Mark was ready because I didn't
Oh, yeah,
know
he's-
any of those. I do have a correction, which we already mentioned from Mark Wells, but he said Jasper lost to Sisney 2
Yeah,
games to
I
1.
know.
But I wanna reiterate it. They end the season 30
30-1, okay.
30-1-1.
That is tremendous.
Chet has a lot of talent from the feeder schools heading to high school next year. Last night's game was intense. I believe
Oh, I
that.
bet.
Did anybody do
Believe
that in
that.
video or
No.
anything?
No, we really wanted to try, but if we do Jasper, then we have to do
Yeah,
Center Street.
right,
And
yeah.
this week is the first week of FCHS spring sports, and we only have 2 cameras or 2 sets of equipment. We're honestly, it's hard to get all the games filled right now to like the spots for people.
I'll tell you something I started here last week. I am going back and downloading off of the website where I do all my games, games from back in back when Edwards County was going to the state finals. I got all those, and I'm putting them on YouTube on my Edwards County Lions
Oh, cool.
YouTube channel, and I'm doing games from the 1900s, early 2000s. And
Cool.
so athletes can go back and see them play on this YouTube channel, Edwards County Lions.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
That reminds me, I need to go back through and unhide all of our hidden
Video or
broadcasts.
basketball.
Yeah, we had to hide them so people wouldn't scout, when we were in postseason.
You run into that too, did you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
See,
and I was like, oh, shoot, that just reminded me I never unhit him. Because I was like, I told people, I said, you'll be able to watch them once it's over.
Now, when I started doing the Edwards County games on NFHS, I couldn't do that. They were just there.
Oh, you couldn't hide them?
I could not hide them. No.
Oh, okay.
So the coaches had to put up with that.
Either deal.
But I found that to be kind of strange that a coach would say they didn't want their games to be scouting, and yet these same coaches ask for videos from these other coaches that are playing.
I think just to make it not as easily accessible, you know what I mean, where you do have to ask for it, and that you're getting or you're giving it to them.
Well, they have to pay a subscription, first of all, to NFHS.
Well, that's true. That is true.
So.
Well, okay. What else we got? You got anything for us today, Mark?
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's just been crazy.
It has been a crazy week. And we're heading into the weekend. We got a crazy weekend. We have St. Patty's Day on Sunday. I don't know if you guys celebrate St. Patty's Day or not.
I was this close to buying me a green hat yesterday.
I was going to say, we really kind of failed. We could have, I got my nails. I got my green nails.
I see that. Hey, I got to ask you, though, Claire, when did you first start thinking about doing something like RJ on Main?
RJ on Main?
When did that first start?
Like Raylan James Marketing?
Raylan James Marketing and this whole thing. When did that first pop into your mind as something you wanted to do?
So it's really kind of funny. My story's just like yours. Things kind of fall into place when they're supposed to and how they're supposed to. I'll try to make it quick, but when I went to college, I went to junior college my first year, LTC, and finished up that summer at Frontier. But I went to college. I went to SIU Carbondale, and I just went there because my high school boyfriend at the time was going there. And I picked my major, which was marketing, because SIU had a great business school, and I didn't want to do accounting or finance or management. So marketing was literally just by, narrowing it down. Well, I guess that's the one that's going to work. And it's so funny because then, fast forward, I was working at National Railway Equipment when I got pregnant with my first son, and everyone told me, you're not coming back. And I said, I'll be back in 8 weeks, Mark my words. Well, I wasn't. I decided I couldn't leave my babies and my baby at the time. And then a year and a half later, I had my second son, and he was born the end of August, and probably end of October that same year, I had a local businessman, L. Brian Williams with CSI Insurance Brokers. Yeah. He just reached out and said, hey, I'm really wanting a better presence on social media. I had worked with him before in different aspects, and he said, would you mind just taking over our social media for us? At that time, they just had Facebook, and just doing some posts, letting people know what we offer, that type of stuff. And I'm like, I'd love to. And so I give him all the credit for giving me that opportunity, because from that, Patty Vaughn at Willow Creek, that was just opening, and she reached out, and I helped her with events and things like that. And it was a real slow, nice progression where I didn't get too big too fast. I was able to stay at home, raise my babies. Now they're in preschool and in kindergarten, and it was just wonderful. And then, working with Mike Dreeth, he really had the vision for us.
Right.
For me to get Mark on and really turn into a multimedia type company. And so we did it. Luckily, Mark was crazy enough to quit his secure job and come on with this little marketing business. And Mule Nation was born. And then that same year, Bobcat Nation was born.
Well, where did you get the knowledge for all this technology to do this kind of stuff?
I just learned it. Just same as how I learned how to build a website. That's why I love my job. I enjoy learning new things. I enjoy the challenge. It's never boring.
Well, I'm sure it's not.
You never know what you're going to get into on a day-to-day basis. I'm thankful for Mark and Ashley and Elena and all of my contractors that work under me, because my mind goes all day long, all night long, and I send the text messages at 1:30 in the morning when I'm up thinking of it, and I try to apologize, but I'm just happy to be in my hometown doing marketing that I love, and being involved in high school sports is so much fun. Getting to use this as an outlet, RJ on the Air, we love it. I love what I do. I hope you love it too. Some days
there are some days, and I think that's
anywhere, right?
I mean, there are some days we'll just be like
Monday. I think we were all quitting Monday because it was the first day of spring sports for the high school.
And
it was just
nothing
went right.
Well, I mean, I think back to the first football game we did. I mean, we were done.
We were all over
We
it.
left the first football game.
You made a mistake, you thought.
It was
well,
no.
we couldn't get the audio to work. It was picking up the computer.
I remember a couple of games here at the gym when you were, and they called you to come help fix it.
I'm on the phone trying to tell them how to do it. I was like, I'm just coming up there in my jammies. Like, I'm coming up there. But that's the thing with technology. It's frustrating in the moment.
It can be.
Because you can do it the same way every time, and it's not going to always work that way.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So just being available and being able to laugh at it so you don't cry type of thing. Yeah. But, yeah, that first football game, our soundboard wasn't working. We hadn't. So you ask, how did I know the technology? I missed a step. I didn't realize I needed to download the driver
and I had looked at the same book.
So you put your headphones on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we sounded perfect. We tested it. But
it wasn't going on the internet.
It wasn't going on the internet. It was picking up the computer. And I mean, we were about in tears. I'm like, I'm giving all the sponsors their money back. Like, here, these people believed in me and invested in me and our goal. And I'm just returning all their money. And, I let them down. And we got together and we got it figured out. And by second game, we had it fixed. But
right over there at the
chamber office. That was before I had this building. So Libby was nice enough to let us use the chamber to kind of get that straightened out. And every days we learn something new for sure. And some days we learn it again.
And I come back again sometimes.
And again.
I've got to tell you the story about my first game as the official voice of the Aces.
Yeah.
What happened in that? I mean, I don't know what our time is left here, but.
You're fine. We don't have another radio broadcast coming on after us. So
well,
we're okay.
So I told you how, after this, Tommy Strop had the heart attack, I became the voice of the Aces. So the first game coming up was going to be at Salem. The Aces were playing at Salem. And the station manager decided to send the radio professor along with me to help me do the broadcast. So he picks me up, and we start heading towards Salem. Well, we get about halfway there, and a tremendous fog moves in. So we have to really drive slow in the fog to get to Salem. We get there, and I can already tell by the sound of the crowd and everything going on, the game's already started. So we quickly grabbed the equipment out. And by the way, the equipment we used back then is far different from what was used today.
Oh, my, yes.
It was one of those you, reeled the camera?
No, we didn't use, there was no video. It was all on radio. Mm-hmm. So, and you had to contact the radio station through phone lines.
Yeah.
And anyway, we get all set up, and I'm not even looking out on the field. I'm just busy hooking stuff up and everything. So finally, we make contact with the radio station back in Mount Carmel. And I said, I guess we're ready to go on the air. And so he says, okay. So he gives me the intro, and I start on the air. And I look out across the field, and you can only see halfway across the field because of the fog.
Oh, no.
So you try to call play-by-play when only you can see halfway across the field. And, anytime the ball goes to the other side, the guy runs into the fog, and you don't know what happened to him. Whenever they would kick the football or throw the football, you don't have any idea, what's going on. That was my first game trying to do play-by-play. You can only see halfway across the field.
Hey, it can only get better from there, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, my gosh, that's great. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. I appreciate you coming on.
I'd be glad to come back anytime you need to fill in.
Oh, yeah, we will get you back on for probably April. I thank you, though, also for coming such short notice.
No problem.
Everyone, Sarah Turner was supposed to be here today. They've switched. Sarah had something come up, so she will be here on Tuesday for It's a Beautiful Day in Fairfield at 8:30 a.m. But, yeah, everyone have a beautiful weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for joining us on It's a Beautiful Day in Fairfield. And
we'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll see you Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.